he died of cancer. He had brain cancer. Or I'm not sure where it started, but it spread to his brain. But he was when I think of him, I think of like a very, like stone. He was like a tough, strong, quiet, eccentric a little bit man. But he was very Italian, he looked a lot like Jay, which is funny because it was not his biological father, Mr. Bonavita, but he did look a lot like Jay. He was short but compact and the type of guy you would just not want to get into a fight with. He didn't look imposing or threatening, but he was just like a small bulldog, like a little. He wasn't even that small. He was. You could tell that it would be ferocious getting into a fight with him. Very strong man, and Jay was within walking distance from my house. Come to find out, he lived very close. So he became my best friend. I spent my entire childhood with him. Just every day. That's the person I would hang out with. And we were very into... It started off as skateboarding. We were skateboarding. I love the skateboard culture. And this is a lot of my childhood. I was fascinated by the culture and the things surrounding a certain activity, but not as fascinated with the actual activity. I was not good at skateboarding. And Jay was, and still is, anything that requires any sort of physical coordination, Jay was phenomenal at, and it was always like my family seemed to have a little more money than his family, and so this would be the dynamic. Like, I would have all the best equipment for whatever, baseball or skateboarding, whatever we were into, and Jay would have whatever they could afford, and he would take those, whatever he had, and just dominate with that. Skateboarding, he was good. Actual skateboarding, he was very good. And I had this wonderful skateboard. My family went on a vacation to California, and I had this really expensive, wonderful skateboard, and it got stolen at skateboarding camp. This is just an anecdote. And Jay, of course, was at the same camp, or we went to camp together, and they organized, and they couldn't just give me it. It's very strange to think about it. My skateboard got stolen. The skate shop attached to the skateboarding camp tried to say, well, that's not our, we can't reimburse you because I don't know what it was. But what we can do, they were like, we can't just give you a skateboard because then people will claim they got their skateboard stolen and ask for a free skateboard. So what we'll do is we'll organize a skateboard contest. I think it was an ollie or some sort of trick, a contest, and the winner gets a free board. This is how sad this is. They knew, and I knew, I would not win that competition. But I had a friend who most certainly would, and that was Jay. So Jay did the competition for me and won me a free skateboard. He won, and I got a skateboard. So that's just a side note, what kind of friend he was. He was also fearless. So at a young age, before, I was bigger than him, taller than him, but I remember one night talking about fighting. We were wrestling, and it's very embarrassing. I had this childhood moment. I cried or something and said, I can't win a fight. And Jay started to tell me how to win a fight. And Jay wasn't a big fighter or known as a tough guy. He was just known as being fucking fearless. Nothing scared Jay. Fighting otherwise. He just didn't have fear. And I remember him telling me, you bite, kick, scream, and then we wrestled, and he's like, see, look. I don't remember remember the details, but I remember that night because it was embarrassing. And I remember him just being a good friend about it. And I do remember the first time I'd gotten into like a fight. Some kid, Jeremy Reese, decided, I don't know why, like it was during recess, I don't know, third grade? I don't know what grade we're in. And I remember he just decided to attack me. And he like pushed me down to the ground and like held my face down to the concrete and like away from everybody during the recess. And I was screaming, Jay, Jay, and trying to get Jay to help me out. And I remember Jay was like riding on someone's shoulders or something, whatever he was doing. And he goes, put me down. And he ran and he got Jeremy off of me, and that was it. Yeah. And as we got older, it was like, you're just fearless, man. Like, I grew a little more comfortable with myself, and I was tall and everything, and things changed, but Jay always remained fearless, and that was part of the reason why he was so good at sports. I was obsessed with basketball, and Jay was, not so obsessed, but he would play, and we'd all go to basketball camp and all this like expensive shit, hoops in our driveway and everything, and then Jay would just grab a ball and dominate because he's just good at that shit. Football. He played football 1 year. Football became my thing. I really enjoyed football. I wasn't great at it, but sophomore year I did well. I finally I got a chance. There's this guy, Mike Egan. He's an extremely tough dude, very strong guy in our grade, and he was the defensive end ahead of me for our grade, and something happened where he got kicked off the team or something, and I got my opportunity. And I remember that summer I had lifted weights a lot. I had gotten into lifting weights, so freshman year I was useless. Sophomore year I ended up starting varsity and doing well, to the point where I ended up changing schools for football, and it was a bad decision going to Williston. But the only reason why I got accepted was because of my sophomore year at football at South Hadley. But, I wanted him to play real bad. He wasn't really into it, but it become like it changed my life at the time. And so Jay decided, all right, I'll play. And I remember him being out there and just, I don't think he really liked it, but even not trying, he was good. He was just athletically sound. And, my childhood is just, I remember Jay. We were very much into hip-hop. After skateboarding, we were really into rap. And I got these turntables, like a whole setup for my birthday, like turntables and a mixer and everything. And I loved playing with them. And Jay did too, and Jay got really good at it. And the reason why they ended up at his house in his hands, and to this day he still has some of the equipment, was because his family built a bedroom upstairs for him. And it was the biggest bedroom anyone has ever seen in their life, the size of the entire house, almost like half the house. It was like a big playroom, high ceilings, everything. He had like a basketball hoop in his room, and we could make noise up there. And in my bedroom was really small, and you couldn't make noise. My whole family would hear it. So I brought all the equipment to his house, and I said, I'll just leave it here, and I'll come over and use it. And of course, Jay got really good at it. To this day, he still uses it, and he became a DJ. Ended up making money as a DJ. So, I was very insecure growing up, and I told the story already of how I got into drugs, and my life now is a consequence of those bad decisions as a child. Now I'm 39, and my biggest accomplishment in life was the year and a half I spent with Rachel when she was sick with cancer. It's the thing I'm most proud of. And she died, so I couldn't save her. I know it sounds ridiculous, but because I don't think anybody could have, but at least I think I provided like some comfort for her so she could die not so alone. She had her family, of course, but her parents got divorced at a young age, and it was just different. Whereas if it were me who was diagnosed with cancer, my family's very smothering and very, oh, God, just a different dynamic. And Rachel needed, beyond her family, she needed someone. And I was able to be that person for her. And yeah, that's my biggest accomplishment. So I haven't done much with my life. And now, at 39 years old, I have these health issues coming up. I don't know how related they are to her dying, but that probably has a lot to do with it. Since she died, I have sleep issues and blood pressure issues and just a myriad of issues that I never saw before. Going through something like that requires all of your strength, all of your focus, all of your willpower, all of your fortitude, and it just drained me. Just drained me. So now I'm feeling drained. I'm feeling tired and going back to a life that I didn't establish for myself. It's been really hard. So now I need to change this, and I need to find a way I need to find a way out because lately I do think about my future, and it doesn't look good. So I think about taking my own destiny into my own hands, and I wouldn't consider myself suicidal, but I think about it. That scares me. So I'll never do anything while my parents were still alive. They couldn't handle that. And it would just be the icing on the top of a very painful cake, which has been my life. So I'm hoping I can fix that. And that's where I'm going to stop this podcast today. Yeah.